What's up, guys? It's Nart out here, and today I am doing the Blast Paris Major Pickems, and we're starting off with the Challenger stage. Join with me today is Klieger and Saga, both my friends and experts, and we are going to get you the Diamond Coin. So, how I like to play this out is I like to put the favorites on the bottom to secure my points because you need 5 of them. I don't like to risk putting the favorites inside of the 3-0. All right. I want to secure my points. Is that a good method, guys?
I mean, for sure, right? So you'd expect most of the favorites to go through, right? So you have these teams, these clear tier one teams, which have just a lot of individual power, right? So even if they don't have the best teamwork, teams like G2 and FaZe, like big favorites this major, right? They should totally go through this. Otherwise, it's just a big mess up.
You want the favorites on the bottom always because you never know.
Yeah.
They might even bomb out.
Yeah, like we saw with FaZe
Exactly.
on the Legend stage. But speaking historically wise, right? Out all the majors, usually the favorites, you do put them on the bottom, they'll go through. Okay. And looking at this list, we can say G2 and FaZe are the best teams to do so with the highest odds because of their individual skill, their tactics, teamwork, all those three. Okay. So if I had to choose my next team, I am going to go with Mouse. Okay. For me, it's Mouse. The reason being is I like Frozen and Exertion. That duo is really good. All right. Exertion single handedly took out FaZe when they were in the 2-2 in the RMR. And he went like plus 20, like 70 and 50. And he sent FaZe to the LCQ. And then we also seen Dexter step up huge for them to get to the playoffs last major. He was the reason on Mirage, last map Mirage against ENCE. He stepped up huge. So I like Mouse. Do you guys like Mouse?
I love Mouse.
Yeah, so we talk about individual just power of teams, and Mouse exactly that. They have a very in-your-face, brawly type of Counter-Strike they play. So this is just exactly the thing you're looking for.
Yep. All right. So I'm going to complete this list here, okay? And then we'll go 3-0, 0-3 along the way. So my next favorite team, okay? This might be controversial, but I'm going to go Team Liquid.
You're going for the NA pick. You gotta support the NA boys.
I do, but
Right.
at the same time, like the trio of Naf, Yakinder, and Elish, individually wise, they can, they can get to the playoffs, honestly. But with recent struggles at the NA RMR or the Americas, that's kind of had me worrying. Like they shouldn't be losing a map to Nouns. But hopefully, with all this time off, we could see them, boot camping, practicing. Hopefully, we see the
Focus up a
potential
little.
in Team Liquid, right? So
I
I'm
mean,
putting Team Liquid here. What do you have to say, Kliger?
we had FaZe talk about burnout with twists. We had Vitality
Yeah,
talk
for
about
sure.
burnout, and for Liquid was the exact same. It just hit them a bit earlier. Definitely, like this period of rest should have them recovered, and they should just be back to their old form.
Yeah. Yeah, we've seen them consistently like before like 2 months. Like they were making playoffs in like most of the events. Like so Liquid here. My next team that I'm going to pick is ENCE. So the reason why I'm picking ENCE is I really like what Snappy is doing with ENCE, right? So he's had like ever since he's come onto the team where they went international, he's put ENCE in a good position to win, right? With all and then as well as losing Spinks and bringing in a new player like Nertz, who's also been he's a really good one-to-one replacement for Spinks, and I think behind Diha, their team structure is really good. I would say because they have the perfect roles, right? Madden and Snappy, the main support players, they're going in creating space for the other three. So and as well as they've really changed how they played. They used to be like really fast paced, but Snappy has really actually slowed down some of his calling. So I like ENCE here. What do you guys think about ENCE?
You pretty much nailed it. You pretty much nailed the nail in the coffin. Like
Uh-huh.
it's like a complete team kind of balanced.
Yeah.
The way how they're structured out, like they can win out 3 games against this kind of level of competition because the way
Yeah.
how
And
they've been gelling.
we saw Nerds actually. I think he went top 5 at the RMR in stats. I think.
Yeah, he would
So
absolutely huge. So ENCE has the firepower
yeah.
and they have a good structure, right? They have the
Mhm.
roles figured out. They have the teamwork and the firepower, right? So this also should work out.
Yeah. So, all right. So 2 spots left. All right. I am gonna pick OG. Right. This could be controversial because they've been mixing. They've been gone without Nexa for the last 2 to 3 months. I think it was. In the beginning, it was rough, but over time, they've been looking better with each tournament they've been playing. And at the RMR, they actually went down 0-2 and clawed their way back in 3 best of 3s. That's pretty impressive to come back from that. And so with the firepower behind Flames and Dexter, I think that's going to get them through. But we saw really good signs of Nico at I Am Rio, where he actually played individually like good. So if he could play good there, and then we have Fiku and Neofrag, who are actually pretty decent players. So I think OG behind their firepower can get through in this group here. What do we think about OG?
I'm a bit more split on OG. I definitely agree. Dexter and Flames have a lot of firepower, and Nico seems to fit the team really well. And his calling seems to suit
Yeah.
Flames and Dexter especially. But they're still a pretty young roster. I think they can have issues with pressure,
Yeah.
especially in these group stage games. So I'm not really sure. If they lose a map, this might go really, really bad, really fast. But if they start hot, they're definitely
Yeah, if
going
they start
through.
hard, like at the I Am Rio, they actually beat Vitality, the winners, in the best of 1. And then they took them to 3 maps for the decider to get to playoffs. So, and then they actually got top 4 in the Brazzy party. Granted, they did play C9 in the semifinals, and Hobbit was having some eye issues. They did take a map off him. So and they almost beat them at the end too, but the 1v2 defuse happened. But we're not going to talk about that. But any
Now,
thoughts on OG? Real quick, Saga.
I was gonna say the way how they can kind of just beat you in the best of 3.
Yeah.
It does show they can beat the teams that just one off you. They can fight you off in a best of 3. So it is a safe option. Now,
sure.
what are you doing? What are you doing for that last pick? Because there's some names up there.
Yeah, for this last pick, it might be. It's hard to pick, right? A lot of these teams can go through. I feel like this is like the most stacked challenger stage we've seen in a while. But one team that's been really impressive for me is actually Pain Gaming.
I was gonna say that.
The reason why I'm putting Pain here is they've been playing actually a lot of tournaments and games, and they've been very impressive with the way that how they're playing. They've been showing like good results. They've beaten Liquid, Furia. They've taken Fear to the last map. They've played some good EU competition and also like stacked up pretty good well against them. So I actually like Pain in this last spot. What do you think, Kleger?
So definitely, I think a big factor that convinces me of Pain is their calling has absolutely looked fantastic.
Yeah.
I think they actually outbrained some EU teams, some NA teams, and even if their star Orper and Zevi goes missing on one map, they can still pull through a very convincing win. And if you can win without your star players, that's just super promising, right? That's like a very, very solid foundation, and you can build a lot from that.
Yeah, so that is my last pick. Now, who are we going to put for 3-0 and 0-3? We can start with 0-3. That's easier for me. I'm sorry to my Fluxo friends and fans. I have to put Fluxo 0-3. Initially when they started the team, they actually looked good. Like they showed really good potential, right? Lucazzi was like noted as like the next best Brazilian player. They played really close against Navi, I recalled, at some type of blast event. But at the RMR, I was not impressed at their showing. They actually were given like a really easy schedule, to get here, right? I mean, it's not their fault, it's who they get put up against, and they beat their opponents. But man, they almost lost to, no offense to Yer, but man, I'm just not impressed with Fluxo. So I'm putting Fluxo 0-3. Any thoughts on Fluxo before I move on to 3-0?
My pick for 03
Uh-huh.
is Fluxo. I would not fall into the Greyhound, the trap. Do not fall into that trap.
Ground is really strong, and they will just win one map out of spite or one
Yeah.
matchup just to not get 0-3 because
Yeah.
they want to prove people wrong. For me, the 0-3 is between two teams. It's Fluxo and Apex. But Apex didn't even expect to make it to the major, so they're already overperforming. But I just think Fluxo was like a tier below that. Completely see. And also the HLTV pickems agree with you. I think was over 40%.
Yeah, exactly. I saw that too, and I like Payne played Fluxo at the America's RMR, and they demolished them. Like it was like 16-2, and then like the other map was like Fluxo didn't even get double digits either. It was bad. Yeah. Okay, 3-0. Who I think can go 3-0 out of these teams here is ForZe, right? You want to put a wild card here. So I have ForZe. They're playing Greyhounds first. That's a good start. They've played Greyhound in the past and demolished them. So I'm putting ForZe here because I think they can I honestly think they can go 3-0. Like what Jerry's done with this team is amazing. Like he's been with ForZe for a while now, and he's constantly had to change rosters. And this roster that they have now is looking really good behind his calling, as well as Zorti stepped up with the op. And then they have this really good star player in Result. So I like ForZe 3-0. Guys,
So
what do we think?
There's a lot of teams you could put 3-0.
Yep.
NIP is also one of those, right? They've been really inconsistent.
For sure.
They have a very good A game, but a very, very bad C game. But
real quick on NIP, they can go 3-0 because their rifling core, if they're on point, they can beat any of these teams, right? Rez, Config, Brolin. Like, if they're actually on their A game, they can go 3-0. But like you said, they on the other side, they can actually go 0-3. Like, it just, like, they're very inconsistent. And then who else were we going to say?
Another one of these teams is they can just like completely steamroll a team would be Monty. But the big issue is Monty in their first matchup is playing FaZe.
Yeah.
And that's just a huge gamble right there. I don't see them winning against FaZe, even though it's a best of one, and best of ones can be super chaotic. Right? It can go either way. You just have one mistake in the game, and you're losing 3 rounds, and you're fighting for overtime. So that's why I wouldn't pick Monty. Right? Just a very hard first matchup.
Yeah. Also, the win condition for Monte is Boros. This kid shoots hard. According that was a quote from KDN. But I watched Monte demos. Holy cow. Boros, he is getting picked up by a tier 1 team after this major. So otherwise, any final thoughts? How about complexity, guys? We didn't talk about complexity.
Complexity really is, they have two stars in Grim and Holzerk.
Yeah.
These two can absolutely take over a series, carry a game. I just need to see more consistency out of the likes of Fang, Floppy, and JT to like really believe in this team, right? So this is a team that can definitely upset, like make it through to the next stage through an upset, but they're far from like a safe pick in my opinion.
I originally had complexity down here with the HLTV pickems, but the reason why I took them out was the Melbourne showing. They didn't get to playoffs. They were favorites besides BNE to win the event, right? And they lost to Ecstatic. Okay, no offense to Ecstatic, but there's no way complexity should be losing to Ecstatic, especially in a best of 3 to not qualify for playoffs. So, like you said, Kleeger, their consistency is an issue. Like when I'm watching complexity, I feel like they play to their level of their opponents. Like they always play hard against tier 1 opponents, but then like they'll lose to like Like for example, Ecstatic, as well as there's like other games. But yeah, that's the issue with complexity right now. But thank you guys for joining me. These are my pickems. And make sure to subscribe as you don't want to miss out on the other pickems for the legend and playoff bracket, as I will be helping you get gold. I mean diamond, not gold. All right. Well, till next time, Nart out here. Peace.